Vice President J.D. Vance used a speech in Mexico City to defend the administration's abortion restrictions and rollbacks of DEI programs. He also criticized transgender policies, signaling a tougher line in U.S. diplomacy. Thousands of Minnesotans walked off jobs and rallied in Minneapolis on Friday in a day of truth and freedom protest against ICE operations. Organizers urged no work, no school, and no shopping. Former Olympic snowboarder Ryan Wedding was arrested in Mexico and is being extradited to the U.S. Authorities say he led a major cocaine trafficking network and ordered killings tied to the operation. A group of Senate Democrats broke with party leaders on a short-term DHS funding package, complicating talks to avert a shutdown. The split raises uncertainty as lawmakers race against the funding deadline. People familiar with the matter say President Trump is privately worried the Minnesota protests are hurting his immigration message. The unrest has intensified as federal agents expand ICE operations in the state. DHS says ICE has launched Operation Catch of the Day in Maine, targeting about 1,400 people for arrest and deportation. Advocates say the sweep has spread fear, and families are scrambling to locate relatives. Russia said Ukraine must withdraw from the Donbass as trilateral talks with U.S. and Ukrainian officials began in Abu Dhabi. Kyiv says it won't sign any deal that formally cedes occupied territory. ICE removed about 50 detainees from the Cumberland County Jail in Maine and canceled its contract with the facility. The move came after the sheriff publicly criticized ICE's tactics during a recent arrest. Special counsel Jack Smith told a House panel he urged a judge to limit Donald Trump's comments to protect witnesses in the case. Courts later narrowed those restrictions, keeping the First Amendment fight alive. Officials say the Trump administration is considering a naval blockade to stop oil imports to Cuba. No decision has been made, but a cutoff could deepen Cuba's fuel shortages and heighten regional tensions. DHS has paused planned FEMA staffing cuts as a major winter storm approaches this weekend. Officials said response centers are activated, and workers who received non-renewal notices were told they're still employed. The Trump administration is weighing a naval blockade or other steps to stop oil shipments to Cuba, officials familiar with talks said. Any move could escalate tensions and raise legal questions. Vice President J.D. Vance spoke at the March for Life in Washington, D.C., defending the Trump administration's anti-abortion actions. He said the White House plans more moves after critics urged faster change. Prime Minister Keir Starmer and Prince Harry criticized President Trump after he downplayed Britain's role in Afghanistan during an interview this week. Starmer called the comments insulting and pressed for respect for fallen troops. Former special counsel Jack Smith testified to the House Judiciary Committee this week and faced questions about seeking a gag order on Donald Trump. Courts later narrowed the restrictions in the election interference case. Judges in Minnesota rejected Justice Department requests to keep 3 anti-ICE protesters in detention after arrests at a St. Paul church. The defendants were released as the case continues in federal court. Former Olympic snowboarder Ryan Wedding was arrested in Mexico City, where U.S. prosecutors say he ran a major drug trafficking network. Authorities say he faces extradition and federal charges tied to cocaine shipments. President Trump posted that a record cold wave shows global warming is a hoax as a major winter storm threatens much of the U.S. Forecasters warned dangerous cold and heavy snow could disrupt travel.